I was gonna start a stream today, Isabel. You were just being a bit impatient. Oh, hello everyone. Hello Sean, hello Isabel, I'm doing alright. We're just gonna have a little bit of a mess around stream today, because there's really nothing left I can really do. Well, there is more I could do. I could maybe do another playthrough of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but that would require me putting the game in, letting everything fully install again, so... But it shouldn't be that massive of a file. Well, at least I hope not, anyway. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could replay that again. You know, try and find something to do with that. The shiny Pokemon you got was a Dedenne? Cool. Speaking of shiny Pokemon, apparently there's going to be a mass outbreak of shiny Wiglet in Scarlet and Violet, and it's going to be starting on the 30th of May. Wait, where? No, not the 30th of May. 30th of March. It's going to be going into May. Going into May. The 30th of April to the 3rd of May. That's how long they're going to be doing that. I might jump on my game to see if I can get a shiny one of Wiglet. I might jump on to see if I can get a shiny Wiglet, because shiny Wiglet would be a nice one to add to my shiny collection, that's for sure.
I'm gonna hit you with everything I got! Select your fighter! My power level is... Select the stage! Planet Namek.
It's kind of a shame that this game doesn't get updates anymore. But somehow Xenoverse 2 still does. You'd think they would move on from Xenoverse 2 now, considering Sparking Zero's out. You know, they'd put more effort on putting updates on that game. But I guess it's still popular.
None of you can win against me. Give up.
Becky promo to explain her explanation, and Rhea versus Roxanne tomorrow. Oh, wow, Rhea's finally having a match on Raw? Wow, what a shocking surprise. And why does it have to be against Roxanne? Oh, you know, the people online are not going to be happy about that. Oh my god, all Roxanne has done on the main roster is lose. All she's done on the main roster since she's come is lose, lose, lose. Who did Roxanne piss off backstage? Because, you know, that's what people are going to say. That's all I've been seeing a lot of people say. They're thinking Roxanne has pissed someone off backstage. Roxanne beat Raquel. Yeah, but that's Raquel Rodriguez, though, man. Like, Raquel's not exactly, you know, a huge name that's going to be remembered in the history books. Raquel's not, you know, the kind of person that people are going to look back on saying, wow, wow, that victory that Roxanne got over Raquel Rodriguez, that elevated her career. You know, they're not going to think that match elevated her. She lost to Alexa Bliss in the chamber. She lost to Tiffany Stratton. All I've seen people say is how they think Roxanne, for some reason, has pissed someone off backstage. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, guys, do you guys not... I'm like, guys, Roxanne just had a freaking title reign of her career. It's so bizarre to me that people complain when someone's pushed way too hard, but then when they start going on a losing streak, all of a sudden now it's an issue. Oh, but now they go on a losing streak. Now it's, did they piss someone off backstage? So would you rather them continuously get shoved down our throats so hard, or would you rather them lose a little bit? Sure, I don't like that Roxanne's losing. I don't like that Roxanne's losing, but I'm not going to be all like, oh, she upset someone backstage. Like, come on, guys. Be for real.
This power's insane. I'm loving it.
Oh, they will soon. Surprised they haven't complained about Stephanie yet. Oh, they will soon. Remember people complained she lost to Shotzi. You're forgetting they complained when she lost to Shotzi.
No one, and I mean no one, hurts my friends. I am neither Goku nor Vegeta. I'm the guy who's gonna stop you.
For the Zero Mortal plan. Select stage. Cell Games Arena.
They will eventually. You know they will eventually.
Dragon Ball Rumble.
You know they will eventually complain about Stephanie. You know that'll come. But yeah, I am happy Rhea is wrestling on Raw, but I'm not incredibly happy that it has to be against Roxanne. Like, they could have literally picked somebody else. But I guess it makes sense after, oh, the computer's not moving. But I guess it does make sense considering what happened last week. I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. Because... Oh. No. There we go. That's better. Like, it does... Like, in theory, it makes sense from what happened last week. But as long as it ends in a DQ with Julia getting involved, I guess that's perfectly fine. But I just got that week, but it's probably not going to. But I just know if Rhea does beat Roxanne. But even if she does defeat Roxanne, clean, you know people are going to complain and say, Rhea didn't sell her offense! Or whatever. Because I know, because we all know how the IWC don't like her. Yep, Android 21 did say that, Isabel. You're not dodging this! Jeez!
This next one's gonna wipe you off the face of the planet! One more time! Now this, I don't think so!
You're gonna eat this! I already know people aren't gonna like Becky's explanation because they're gonna think what she said made no sense. I already know people are gonna say it's not gonna make sense. She sounds like John Cena, making no sense. Holy God!
This next one's gonna wipe you off the face of the planet!
Go Cheetah, man, he is... Go Cheetah is absolutely OP. That is...
This next one's gonna wipe you off the face of the planet!
Damn it!
Wow.
Then how about this?
Nope!
I felt that one!
I literally saw someone complained about Roxanne losing, and they're saying they're turning her into a jobber, and then literally a person responded by saying that role suits Roxanne anyway. She's a jobber, and I'm just like, well, that's a little harsh. And I'm like, that's a little harsh. She's not a jobber. Also, Roxanne is a heel. Wouldn't people want Roxanne losing to get her comeuppance? In today's world of pro wrestling, apparently heels aren't allowed to get their comeuppance. Apparently in today's world of professional wrestling, heels can't get their comeuppance. Heels have to always win, and they always have to be dominant, like how people complained about when Rhea Ripley was dominating Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan should be making Rhea Ripley's life hell. She shouldn't be running away from her like a scared little chicken. I mean, if you put Rhea Ripley on the shelf and she was coming back for revenge on you, you would run for the hills too. Well, yes, I agree with what you're saying, Sean, but in today's land of professional wrestling, no heel is allowed to get their comeuppance. Every heel must be dominant. Every heel must win. Every single heel must always dominate the good guys. And you wonder why WWE have... And you wonder why WWE gets criticized for having terrible baby faces. Cause look at what happened to Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was booked like a badass champion when he was feuding with Kevin Owens. Like compared to what Cody did to Kevin Owens to John Cena, it's a big major change. To book a babyface to look like a complete dumbass is certainly a Vince McMahon trope. Well, yeah, of course Joe Hendry was going to retain. I didn't really believe he was going to lose. And yes, I will say good on TNA for doing the right thing by not having Tessa Blanchard win. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. Sean, don't start that. That's very, very annoying. Yeah, that's an awesome finishing move. or if you want to, or if you want to be, like the IWC, or if you want to be just like the fans, dirty, dirty dome, dirty, dirty dome, dirty, dirty dome, dirty, dirty dome. Because for some reason people want to cheer for that loser dome. I figured Jade would lose due to his injury. Nah, I didn't think he'd lose. Oh, Dragon Balls!
State your wish.
Yeah. That's not making a wish, Broly. That's making a noise. Oh, Gogeta just got bitch slapped right in the face.
How dare you?
Are you ready for this?
Foolish.
This is all of my power! Prepare to suffer!
Foolish.
Taste my blade! Possibly the easiest thing to spam in the world. Why you? Curse you! Oh, regards have been sent. Your regards have just been sent.
This right here! Got you now! Hold still! Here goes! This'll be over soon! Got you now! Are you ready for this? Got you now! Here! Yeah!
Foolish.
All done! Fantastic!
Over here.
Oh wow! Nice catch there, Zamasu. Oh wow! Hell yeah. It's always that is always such an awesome move to finish things up on. Alright.
I can't give in now. Everyone's counting on me.
My time skip is unbeatable.
And this is Vegito Blue!
And there's Vegito Black!
Select your fighter.
And that's Vegito Black!
This should kill some time.
Frieza.
What an unexpected thrill.
Kid Buu. Select state. West City.
So, yep, I just chose the 3 faces of Dragon Ball Z. Basically, the 3 villains of Dragon Ball Z. Well, I guess Vegeta was technically a villain of Dragon Ball Z, but he ultimately became a good guy. So Cell, Frieza, and Buu are technically the big 3. What have you done, Goku?
Won't be able to block this.
Oh wow, he did block it.
This is the stats. I continue to improve. This is the stats. Alas.
Oh, nice block. Kamehameha! Wow, he blocked it. Yeah, block it that time, buddy boy. Oh wow, he blocked it again. So, would probably see Ultra Instinct as what he calls a warm-up. Oh, Cell, he has no idea what he's in. He would have no idea what he's in for. So yeah, what you showed me yesterday, Sean, yes, it is kind of hilarious that a lot of the voices that we're familiar with in different cartoons all do the same voice acting. Like Eric Stewart, who does Kaiba Boy in Yu-Gi-Oh, also does Brock in Pokemon, and certain people who we recognize. I had a feeling I knew Joey Wheeler's voice because I knew someone in Pokemon voiced him. But I just couldn't remember. But of course, he just gave him they just gave him a bit of an accent. So yeah.
Over here, try to block this. Ow!
This is the stance. This is the stance. Wayne Grayson was Lance, and in Yu-Gi-Oh he was Joey. Yeah, so it. Oh wow, nice. Yeah, so Wayne Grayson was the one that was the voice I was thinking of. Now I haven't seen the episode yet, but I think I know what season it was because someone said what season it was in, so I was just like, oh, I think I know the season. So I think I know what the season is. Someone did say the voice actor of Goku, Sean Schemmel, did voice a character in Pokemon. And when they said the character's name and what season it was in, I was like, oh, I think I know that season. So I'm gonna try and hunt down that episode if I can find it. Yeah, I think he had like a New York accent in Yu-Gi-Oh as Joey. Yeah, gave him more of an accent. But yeah, like someone did say, oh, the guy that voiced Goku and King Kai was in Pokemon, and when he said who the character was who the character was, I didn't know the character, but when he said what season it was, I was like, hang on, I think I might know the season. I think I might know what season that is, so I'll hunt it down if I can find it. If I can find it, I'll definitely show it. Because it's kind of... You just don't imagine the guy that was screaming his lungs off as Super Saiyan Goku playing voice acting a character from Pokemon where he doesn't have to scream all that well. Because unlike... Yeah! Pokemon! Go all out! You know? Taya is a voice actress, was in Pokemon also. I thought she was because I knew her voice. At first I thought she was May. Because when I first heard her voice, I knew she wasn't Dawn because Dawn was very high pitch. At first I thought Taya was May. At first I thought she was May. I was like, hang on, I think I know her voice. When I heard her voice, I was like, hang on, I think I know her voice. Doesn't she voice May? Because at first I thought she was May, but she wasn't. She's May's brother. She plays May's brother Max. She plays the role of May's brother, who's Max. So
I continue to... It's my turn. You're gonna pay.
I couldn't imagine Brock hating Yugi and Kaiba having a crush on a woman. Yeah, and having crush on women. Yeah, I know what you mean. All Brock does is hand out advice on how to be a good trainer, and also flirts with women. What? I kind of wanted there to be a character, like a bad guy in Pokemon. I kind of wanted there to be a bad guy in Pokemon, and then they have the guy with Seto Kaiba's voice in Pokemon, because I always thought that would have been interesting if they did that. But they never did, which is a bit unfortunate, but at the same time it's understandable. But I just thought it would have been funny if they just had like an evil character, and they were just like, oh, Eric Stewart, play the role of this guy for us. Play as an evil character in Pokemon for us. Like, we know you do, Brock. Yame?
Nice try. Pierces the stance.
Yeah, block this one, Cell.
I continue to improve.
Yeah, block that one, Cell. How about this? Yeah, I can't imagine Brock hating on Ash either. Kaiba runs a company and is obsessed with beating Yugi. Yeah, and then and then he starts his own tournament and doesn't even win it. Yeah, and then he starts his own tournament and he couldn't even win it. But yet he wants to call Yugi a disgrace to the game because he loses one match, because he lost one match fair and square. Hey Kaiba, didn't you threaten to jump off a building if Yugi beat you? So yeah, who's the real disgrace? So who's the real disgrace here?
Should I tell you where you miscalculated?
Sure, you can if you want.
Strength is everything. All is possible with power and power alone.
Not really, Jiren.
I'll change the future. You'll see.
Oh, this is actually close to hit. Oh, that is actually really close to how he looks in Super. That is actually really close to how Bardock looks in Super, just with the armor being different. The armor is slightly different. With the colors are correct, but the armor is slightly different. So that's actually really close to how he looks in the Dragon Ball Super version. You know, speaking of that, I did watch the Bardock special like a few days ago because there was like a website that had like all the episodes and even movies. So, and they even had like the Bardock episode on there. So I was just like, oh, you know what? I guess I can just watch that for a bit. It is good. It is good. There's nothing wrong with the version of Bardock in that show. In that movie, but I just think people just prefer a version and they just hate on another version. I mean, like, Bardock, yes, he was a ruthless Saiyan, but he did realize what they were doing was bad. So there's nothing wrong with him, you know, eventually becoming a nicer guy. Because, again, that's all Saiyans did care about back then.
Listen, well... For I am the son that likes this world.
Just hurry it up, dummy.
18, I only did that just to shut Zamasu up, because I didn't want to listen to him ramble. Who wants to listen to him ramble on and on and on like a broken record?
For justice.
I wonder what Bardock would have thought about his children fighting in the Saiyan saga. Well, from what I understand, in the... Oh god, I don't know who... Oh god, I don't know who has to pick. Didn't they change Broly from not caring about his... I don't think Broly ever had children. Oh, you meant Bardock. Yeah, Bardock, I mean. Yeah, that's the only thing they changed. They only changed Bardock caring about his children, and they also revealed he had a wife. Because remember, in the Bardock movie, in the Father of Bardock movie, Guinea, his wife, was never shown in it. Guinea was never shown in that special. No, Guinea was never shown in that special. So basically, all they did was we'll change Bardock's personality a little bit. We'll keep him the same, but we'll just change. We'll keep him exactly the same, but we will change his personality a little bit, and we will reveal who he ended up marrying to. That's really all they did. They just slightly changed his personality. So I don't really see any wrong with it. I mean, I get if you want to not be a fan of it, but I don't really see the issue. I don't really see the issue with it. Because he didn't really... Because if it was Z Bardock, yeah, he wouldn't have cared. He wouldn't have cared. But here's the thing. Z Bardock, at the end, realizes that his son, Kakarot, is going to be the one that defeats Frieza. So in the eyes of people that follow the Z continuity, Z Bardock is going to be resting in peace knowing that his son, Kakarot, is gonna rest in peace, rest easy, knowing his son Kakarot is gonna be the one that beats Frieza. So that would be the conclusion to the Z version of Bardock. It'd be more the case of he wanted to change the future, he realizes his son Kakarot's gonna be the one that beats Frieza and lets it happen. Accepts it and just lets it happen. Well, yes, Bardock in Super still does the same thing, by the way. I'm gonna turn the... He still does... Let me turn you off for a second. So that way I can speak. Bardock in Super still does the same thing, though. Like for people to be all like, oh, they changed how he dies. No, they didn't change how he died. He still died the same way. He still died the same way. He still died going out into space trying to fight Frieza, and Frieza blew up the planet. He still died the exact same way. So they didn't change how he died. They didn't change how he died in Super. He still died the exact same way. So, if they changed how he died, then I would understand the complaints. If they changed how he died, then I would understand the anger and the anger. I wonder if the Saiyans knew Beerus. King Vegeta did. King Vegeta and Vegeta knew Beerus, and so did King Vegeta. Because in Super, it was like in the early episodes. It was like in the really early episodes of... and it's also in the Battle of Gods movie as well. I have the movie, and you could also... I have the movie. Like, Beerus... Like Vegeta knows who Beerus is. Vegeta has a flashback to when Beerus came to planet Vegeta, and he remembered that Beerus humiliated his father. Humiliated his father once. You know, making King Vegeta bow down to him, and Beerus put his leg on his head and call him names and all that. And Vegeta tried to... And Vegeta saw all this happen when he was a kid, so he knew. King Vegeta did know who Beerus was, and so did Vegeta. So they did know who Beerus was. I would assume they would know of Beerus because they probably would have heard it from King Vegeta that he encountered some godlike being. You know. So I think the answer is yes. I think they would have known. But I don't think they would have known that it was actually Beerus that told Frieza to destroy their planet. Because it's actually kind of funny when you find out in Super, like, it was revealed that Beerus was the one that instructed Frieza to do it, and then Beerus said to Whis, "You better not tell them about that. You understand?" Frieza knew Beerus. Frieza knew of Beerus if Beerus told him to destroy planet Vegeta. Yep, that is correct. Final Flash! Yeah, and that's why he did. Ooh. And that's why Frieza did destroy Planet Vegeta, because I guess it might have been because Vegeta might not have been impressed with King Vegeta and Vegeta, so he just, instead of destroying the planet himself, he just told someone else to do it for him. He just decided to be a bit lazy, because we all know Beerus is a bit of a lazy bones. Take this! If Vegeta and the others found out Beerus was behind the destruction of the Saiyan race, they probably wouldn't trust him anymore. To be fair, Vegeta never really cared for his father. To be fair, Vegeta never really cared about his father or his Saiyan race. He even admitted it in Dragon Ball Z. He even admitted it in Dragon Ball Z. He didn't really care for his race or his father. But yeah, Vegeta probably still would have gotten upset knowing that he now knows the true reason behind his planet's destruction.
This attack decides it.
This attack decides it!
You have no hope of winning. Get ready.
Taste the divine wrath! And really, Goku never knew his family, and Goku never really knew his family, so maybe Goku wouldn't have really cared. I don't know. It's very, very tricky to find out how Goku and Vegeta would have reacted to hearing that Beerus was actually responsible, and Beerus told Frieza to destroy their planet. I mean, Frieza knew he was being told by someone else to do it. Like, Frieza could have panicked for his life. Like, Frieza could have, you know, maybe, like, because here's the thing, like, Frieza could have begged for his life, could have used that as a way to get his life spared. Oh, wow! Okay, I did not know Bardock could do that. Okay, cool. Huh, well that's interesting. Alright, well that's interesting. Beerus, hey Frieza. Hey Frieza, destroy planet Vegeta so a Saiyan can't challenge me. I'll spare your life. Yes, Lord Frieza. Yes, Lord Beerus. It's funny how Beerus said he had a dream of a Super Saiyan God, but then he tells Frieza to destroy them.
You were, right? You were. It's clear. Die!
Well, it's nice to know. Well, that's nice to know that Bardock does have his own unique finishing move, and it actually works really well with this armor. And it actually looks really good on this armor.
You'll regret this. Keep at it. Get over here. Vacuum of space.
Is that all?
Can't you do any better?
It's actually kind of funny. It's actually kind of funny how we're talking about this. Beerus actually, here's the thing. Even though it's just the manga and it's not the anime, which I'm kind of hoping they imply this into the anime, there was a manga episode where they had because you know how Goku has Ultra Instinct. You know how Goku has Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta basically. Wow, Frieza, chill! And then and Vegeta didn't want Ultra Instinct because to get Ultra Instinct you gotta lose control. You gotta lose control of yourself and let the mind and the body control your actions. And because Vegeta didn't want that, he couldn't train with Whis anymore. Because to train with Whis, you have to... Because training with Whis is the path to learning Ultra Instinct. And so because Vegeta didn't want Ultra Instinct anymore, because he didn't want to lose control of himself and let his body control his motions, he couldn't train with Whis anymore. He wasn't allowed to train with Whis anymore. And so he asked Beerus if he could give him something. And so he asked Beerus if Beerus could give him some kind of power, like something like Ultra Instinct. And Beerus said, "Sure, I can. I can give you the power of destruction." And that leads into the pathway of him getting that Ultra Ego power that you see in the manga. Jeez. And that leads into the whole... Yes, he does get Ultra Ego. That is because of Beerus. Because Beerus gives him the power of destruction. So basically, Beerus gives him this power of destruction that allows him to unlock Ultra Ego. But yeah, he didn't unlock Ultra Ego because of Whis. He unlocked that because of Beerus. And in the manga, basically, Beerus flat out tells him that to unlock this power, you need to have a memory. You need to have a memory that makes you angry. And Vegeta's like, "Oh well, I don't really have one outside of Planet Vegeta." Would you say Vegeta's brother Tarbell is non-canon? Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, because there is a small reference. There was a small little reference. There was a small little reference to Tarbell in the Battle of Gods movie. Now, I don't know if he was referenced in the super version of the events, but Tarbell was mentioned in the Battle of Gods movie version, where they were performing the ritual to unlock Super Saiyan God. Bulma asks Vegeta, doesn't your brother live? Does your brother exist? Mentioning your brother, saying, "Hey, doesn't your brother live on a planet somewhere? Why don't we go get him?" And then Vegeta says, "He lives too far away." He says he lives on a distant planet so far away we wouldn't be able to reach him. So there was a so Tarbell is mentioned. He is mentioned in the movie. He is mentioned. So you could say he could be canon. You could say he is canon if he's being mentioned. Like, even in Super, they mentioned Oob, but they don't say his name. They mentioned, hey, there's this young kid. There's this young orphan child training to become strong. They mention Oob in Super at one point by saying, hey, there's a young orphan kid who is training really hard to become strong. So it's basically their way of saying Super is lining up the events of the ending of Dragon Ball Z. That is why I got annoyed when Daima went backwards. That's why I got annoyed that when they introduced Daima, they went backwards again for another year. They were like, oh, we'll go back to another year at the end of the Buu arc. Because Super takes place 3 years after the Buu stuff. Because they always put these events after Buu, because Buu Saga has like this giant 7-year gap. Because the Buu Saga had this massive 7-year gap before the end of Z, they were just like, all right, let's just crumb everything else. Let's just crumb all this other stuff we want to do in the middle of the 7-year gap. So then that way we can make it look like, hey, this is what the characters were doing before the ending of Z, before Goku met Oob. You know? That's what that, you know? That's why they're crumbing everything in within the 7-year gap. Because, yeah.
Perhaps you will be able to
assist me in my warm-up. But yeah. That's why I say the Dragon Ball timeline would be a real major... That's why I say it would be a major mess.
Just what I wanted to hear.
If I had Android 17, I could do... Oh, if I had Android 17, I could have done like an Android tag team. Oh well. Well, technically I can with 21, I suppose.
You're going to fight me?
Oh look, he's a Cell Jr. She almost looks like, I think she almost looks like 19 with that look.
Select your fighter.
It's a message because you have the timeline of the Tournament of Power, you have GT in there. Yeah. It's a mess because it's a mess. Yeah, the timeline is a mess because if you're trying to line everything up, I hate how Daima made it as the first appearance of Super Saiyan 4. Yeah, I didn't like that either. But because I watched the ending. I watched the ending. And because Daima takes place before Super, it makes things even worse. It makes it even worse because it's the end of Super, right?
Now it's my turn. I've had my fill of
Select stage.
So because it's right before Super, Daima's ending made no sense. Daima's ending didn't make any sense. Vegeta asked Goku how did he achieve that power? How did he achieve the Super Saiyan 4 power? And Goku basically said he couldn't get it, he couldn't unlock it through training. He said he kept training and training and training and training and training to try and unlock this power because he knew he had a power that he could unlock, but he couldn't unlock it through training. And basically one of the Nameks, I don't know the full details, but someone used magic powers. Someone used some kind of magical ability on Goku and it unlocked a Super Saiyan 4. Someone unlocked it for him by using magic powers on him. So Goku basically said he couldn't unlock Super Saiyan 4 just by training. He only got it because someone used a magic spell on him. And I'm just like, oh great, so it's just like Super Saiyan God. I was like, oh, so it's just like Super Saiyan God then. Because Goku couldn't achieve Super Saiyan God by training. And Goku hated it. Goku hated he couldn't achieve Super Saiyan God by training. He said he was happy for the power and he loved it. He said he loved the power. Because he told Beerus he loved he loves the power that he gets from Super Saiyan God. He says, but it annoys him that he couldn't achieve it on his own. Because as a Saiyan, he wants to achieve his power by earning and working for it. He wants to work and earn his powers. But being given but when he gets given powers, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like being given powers. He doesn't like being given a power up. You know what I mean? So Daima basically made Super Saiyan 4 basically like Super Saiyan God. He couldn't get it on his own, so he had to rely on someone else to give it to him. And I don't like that. I don't like that. He technically did work. He technically did work for it in GT because he basically transformed into a giant ape.
Never see this one.
I don't think we really should have seen Super Saiyan 4 in Daima. It should have been GT exclusive. Super Saiyan 4 should have just been a GT. Should have been just a GT exclusive power up. Because now that it exists, and now that it's a thing now that it's canon, and now that it's a thing, and because it takes place before Super, it then begs the question: why did Goku not use it against Beerus? Because basically, when Goku fought Beerus the first time, he said Super Saiyan 3 was the highest he could ever go. But now Daima makes it sound like actually Goku can go higher. Apparently there's a 10-year gap after Z, and apparently Daima, Super, and the tournament happened in that 10-year gap. And apparently GT took place 5 years after the end of Z. Yeah, so it's just like what I said before. They're cramming everything in. They're cramming every new thing they add, like GT, like Dragon Ball Daima and Super. They're cramming all that in to fill in, to show what happened within that 10-year gap. Because here's the thing. We as an audience, we care about what's canon. We care about all the, what's canon and what's not canon bullshit. Because one of the guys I watched basically said it best. He basically said it best. He said it best because he was like, Japan don't care about what's canon or what's not.
This is over. Bye.
So if GT happened before the before the tournament, why didn't Goku use SS4 in the tournament? Yeah, because that... Yeah, that's the thing that I... Yeah, see, that's the thing I don't like, because when you're trying to make sense of it all, you're just like, if Goku already knew Super Saiyan 4 by the time Super happened, then why did he never use those powers?
This is over. Bye.
And this is over. Bye. That's why it's so hard. That's why you get people. That's why you get That's why you get people being all like, "Oh, what's canon and what's not canon?" Because ever since Daima ended, people now want to erase Dragon Ball Super. People just now want Dragon Ball Super erased. They're like, "Oh, Daima was better than Super. Super is not canon. Super's not canon. Super's not canon. Daima is canon. Super's not canon." And all that, you know?
Long life would be a good choice.
But to Japan, the people that make the series, they just don't care. They don't care about what's canon. They don't care about what's canon and what is and what's not canon. To them, they just make the series. They just don't care. They don't care if it doesn't make sense. They just make the show, because Japan is the country that makes the show. They don't care. They don't really care about what's canon and what's not. We as the audience watching, we care about that stuff because we want everything to make sense. Japan don't. They don't care. And you would think, well, maybe they should care, but, you know, they just don't. And Beerus isn't in GT. That's why I say none of it makes sense. That's why I'm saying the timeline's a mess. Because if you try to line everything up, you realize none of it makes any sense. That's like if... Now, I don't know... That's like if I tried to get all the... That's like if I decided to watch all the Pokemon movies that I have here, and also the ones I can watch on the website. That's like if I watch all the movies of Pokemon, and I decide to be all like, okay, where would this event take place? Whereabouts in the Pokemon timeline could this movie take place? Like, would it make sense for these movies to fit into the main story, into the main canon, and into the main story or the main timeline of the Pokemon events? You try to watch all the movies and you try to figure out, oh, this could fit. Where could all this fit in? That's why the movies don't really fit. That's why the movies don't fit in the events. They don't fit in the Pokemon events, and it's the same thing with Dragon Ball. That's why Cooler is never mentioned in the main canon of Dragon Ball. Why do you think Cooler is never mentioned in the main canon at all? They never ever mention that Frieza has a brother in the main canon because the Cooler stuff that happened in the movies are not canon. The movie stuff isn't canon. The movie stuff is not canon to the main story. While you can, in theory, make them make sense, you could probably make an argument and say, well, here's the thing. You can, in fact, have Cooler appear within that 3-year gap, within that 1-year gap, when they're training in before the androids. Some people could say, well, here's the thing, you could in theory put Cooler in the main timeline by having him appear within that 1-year time frame when they were training to get ready for the androids. Yeah, but that would make the situation worse. If Cooler did arrive on Earth, then Dr. Gero would have known about Super Saiyan. Because remember, Dr. Gero had no idea what Super Saiyan was. If Cooler came to Earth within that 1-year gap, and if Goku turned Super Saiyan on Cooler, destroyed him, Dr. Gero would have been like, oh, there's a Super Saiyan, there's this thing called Super Saiyan. Right, I'm going to modify my androids to make them even more stronger than this Super Saiyan power. That's what would have happened if Cooler became a part of the main series. Dr. Gero would have just made his androids even more stronger. That would have made things far more worse for Goku and everyone else. That Cooler being there would have made things even worse. And Frieza never talked about his brother. Exactly. And Frieza's never ever mentioned his brother in the main series. Even in Super when he came back. His minions were going to say, hey, we were going to resurrect your father as well, but we couldn't. And then Frieza said, don't worry about my father. Since Gero didn't know about Super Saiyan, it explains why Vegeta was able to easily beat 21. Was able to beat 19. Yes, that's why. I didn't mean to say 21. I said the wrong number. That's why Gero didn't know. If Vegeta and Goku were both there and they both went Super Saiyan on Cooler, Gero would have known about Super Saiyan and he would have made Android 19 way more stronger. He would have made 19 way more stronger, then Goku and Vegeta wouldn't have been able to beat him. So Cooler not being there would have made things even worse. I get where the fandom come from by saying, yeah, you could include Cooler, but then people don't realize including him would have made things even worse. People have also said that the Broly events could still in theory happen because some people say, well, the Broly stuff or whatever else takes place before the Cell games. And I'm like, do you really think Goku and the others would leave planet Earth to go find out about this legendary Super Saiyan while they have a killer android on their planet? Would Goku care about going to find out about this mysterious legendary Super Saiyan while there's a freaking killer android on their planet that's threatening to destroy their planet in 10 days before the Cell games? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They would not leave the planet and leave it there all for Cell. If Cell found out they all left, he would think, oh, these cowards ran away, so I'm going to destroy the planet. He would think everyone ran away. He would think everyone ran away, and then he would blow up the planet. I know what... So Cooler's movie takes place before the Android saga. Yeah, that's why people say you can, in theory, include Cooler before the androids. That's what I was explaining about before, about how even if you want to argue that Cooler can be a part of the anime, and you have him appear before the androids, that's why I'm saying it would make the Android Saga even worse. It would make the Android Saga even worse because Goku would turn Super Saiyan against Cooler. Dr. Gero would now know about Super Saiyan. Then Dr. Gero would then now know about Super Saiyan, and then he would make his androids more stronger. The only movie that makes sense, the only movie that I know can fit in the main anime timeline is the BoJack movie. That is the only movie I can say out of all the movies. That is the only movie that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt can happen in the anime. The BoJack movie. That is the only one in theory I can say, yes, this one can work. That one can work. The BoJack movie. BoJack Unbound. That is the only one in theory I can say works. Isn't Metal Cooler rumored to be from Universe 3? Apparently, according to Super Dragon Ball Heroes? Yeah, I think that's the movie. Yeah, according to Super Dragon Ball Heroes, Metal Cooler is on Universe 3. Could Garlic Jr. fit in? Well, technically he does. Well, technically Garlic Jr. does, because doesn't he appears before, doesn't he appear before Future Trunks? Because I think in, like, before Frieza arrives, and while Goku and Vegeta are both out in space, there's like a little filler arc where Gohan and Krillin and Piccolo fight Garlic Jr. So technically Garlic Jr. is in the main timeline. So he kind of technically is, but they made it sound like that, oh, this is Garlic Jr. escaped from the Dead Zone, which happened in the movie. Which happened in the Dead Zone movie before Raditz came. So they're trying to make it sound like that when Garlic Jr. came back, we already knew about the events of Garlic Jr. I think it's after Goku beats Frieza and before the androids come. Yeah, that's where it happens. So when Garlic Jr. escapes from the Dead Zone, Piccolo already tells Gohan and Krillin he's immortal. They can't kill him because he's immortal. Now, as a first-time viewer, you would be confused. You'd be like, when did he become immortal? As a first-time viewer watching, you'd be thinking, how in the world did he become immortal? It happened in the movie. It happened in the Dead Zone movie. He became immortal in the Dead Zone movie. So how in the world would people know that? If people didn't watch the Dead Zone movie, how would people know that? To them, to people who never watched the Dead Zone movie, would be flat out confused about what's this Dead Zone? How did he escape from it? How is he immortal? If you never saw the movie. He wished for it with the Dragon Balls. Yeah, in the movie, in the Dead Zone movie. He's the only villain outside of Zamasu to ever become immortal. He's the only villain outside of Zamasu to ever become immortal. You have to watch the Dead Zone movie to see Garlic Jr. become immortal and see him get put in the Dead Zone for the first time. You have to watch the movie to know that. For those that didn't watch the movie, they wouldn't really know that. So, in theory, you'd have to make... So, in theory, you would have to put the movie, the Dead Zone movie, in the main timeline for it to make sense. Right? You would have to put it in the main timeline. But here's the weird thing, right? I think at the start of Z, before Raditz comes, Bulma and Krillin and Roshi, they're all surprised Goku has a kid. They're all surprised Goku has a kid. And I think in the Dead Zone movie, they're also surprised that Goku has a kid. So, both things don't make a whole lot of sense. Like, oh, both of these time periods, everyone is surprised that Goku has a kid. That's why I'm saying timeline balance it. That's why I'm saying timelines don't make sense. Janemba takes place before Super Buu arrives, after Hercule befriended Majin Buu, before Goku and Vegeta leave to Earth for Otherworld. Yeah, that's why that movie wouldn't really make any sense. That's why that movie wouldn't really make sense, because that's why that movie wouldn't really make sense, because how in the world can how can Goku deal with Janemba when he basically was with the Supreme Kai after he left Earth to return to Otherworld? And if it takes place before then they're still alive. Then they're still alive. Well, Goku is dead, but you know what I mean. He hasn't returned back to Otherworld yet. That's why I say the movie timeline events don't make sense. Now, if I did my research and found out when exactly the Pokemon movies take place, I would be like, okay, so where would Ash and his friends be during that time period, and would that make sense? It's apparently a parallel timeline for Janemba. Yeah, that's what I consider the movies. That's what I consider the movies. I consider them alternative timelines. That's what I consider them. I consider them alternative timelines. Like, oh, what happened if something else happened? Like, what if, like, we'll use Cooler again as the example. We'll go back to Cooler again. We'll use Cooler again as the example. It's more like the case of what if Goku used the Spirit Bomb and was able to kill Frieza with the Spirit Bomb. But this time period, Frieza is destroyed by the Spirit Bomb and he doesn't come back. Goku, Krillin, Gohan and Piccolo all fly back. They all get back in their spaceship and they all go back to Earth. Planet Namek is saved. It doesn't blow up. Frieza's dead. And then Cooler comes to Earth when then Cooler hears that his brother got killed, and then he goes on the hunt to find Goku. And then Goku turns into the Super Saiyan for the very first time against Cooler. And that's how Goku achieves Super Saiyan. He then achieves Super Saiyan for the first time against Cooler. So that would be the parallel timeline. That would be the alternative timeline. Instead of Goku going Super Saiyan against Frieza, he would do it against Cooler. But I'm pretty sure in the movie, they flat out say Frieza was defeated by a Super Saiyan. I think that in the movie, they flat out say Frieza was defeated by a Super Saiyan. So the movie makes it sound like Goku used the Super Saiyan transformation on Frieza. He went Super Saiyan on Frieza and killed him. So yeah, in my opinion, I think the only movie that would really fit in would be the BoJack movie. At least that's what I think. That is the only one I could really, in theory, see working. Like, within the 7-year gap after the defeat of Cell. Like, I could see that fitting in. Because you know how after the defeat of Cell and before the Android Saga, before the Buu Saga starts, they say it was a 10-year gap. A 7-year gap. There was like a 7-year gap after the defeat of Cell. So in theory, you could put the BoJack stuff in the middle of that. You could put the BoJack stuff there. So yeah, so in theory, you could put BoJack Unbound in that 7-year gap before the Boo Saga starts. If you go by Denzi, Vegeta goes Super Saiyan first because he and Goku's roles are swapped. That just feels like something I think that's fan made. I think. Would Android 13 take place during Cell and androids or before? I think they make it sound like it happens before Cell awakes. I think Android, because they show 17 and 18 at the start of the movie killing Jiro. Because they show Jiro being killed by 17 and 18 at the start of the movie. So it feels like it's like an alternative timeline if Goku and the others figured out a way to beat Android 17 and 18, I think. I think that's what the Super 17 timeline is. I think the Super 13, the Android 13 time period, I feel like that would be like, oh, Goku and the others found a way to destroy Android 17 and 18. Because you never see Android 17 and 18 again. You never see them again in the movie. You see them killing Jiro, and then after that you never see them again. So you could argue that version of events is where Goku and the Z-Fighters found a way to destroy 17 and 18. Like, here's another movie we can use that doesn't make sense. Turles. I think they said Turles takes place either... I think they said it takes place after Vegeta. After Vegeta leaves Earth, I think people said. I think people said the Turles movie takes place after the events of the Saiyan saga where Nappa and Vegeta arrive. But the big major change in that movie is that everyone's alive. Goku's alive, Tien's alive, Yamcha's alive, Chaozu's alive, no one's dead. Everyone's alive. How would that make sense in the main timeline? That wouldn't make sense. Even Piccolo's alive. Like, they're all, like, everyone is alive in that movie. Everyone's alive in that movie. So either they defeated Goku and either Goku and friends were able to defeat Nappa and Vegeta so damn easily, or something else happened. That's why the movie events don't work. That's why I say the movie events don't make sense, because if you're trying to put them in the main timeline, it just doesn't work. And if it takes place after the events of Vegeta, everyone will be buggering off to planet Namek. Everyone will be buggering off to Namek. So why would Turles go to a planet where there's no one there? Everyone will be flying off to Namek by that point. And again, Piccolo and all the others would be dead by then. So that's why I say the movie events are just so damn hard to fit in the main timeline, because when you find out when the movies come out, where they take place, you're just like, yeah, that just doesn't work. Yeah, it's very cold here, Isabel. It's quite cold here. The sun's out, at least. Yeah, it's 18 degrees. It's quite cold here. And in the Lord Slug movie, they tease Goku going Super Saiyan. Turles movie took place after Goku had already arrived on Namek. Then that just does not make sense at all. Then why would Goku and all them be on Earth? So there you go. So there you go. Those events wouldn't work either. Like, why would then that would mean Turles would have sucked the life out of the Earth, because in the movie he uses the Tree of Might to suck all the life energy out of the Earth. And since no one's there, and since no one would be there to defend the planet, Turles would have his way and destroy and suck the life energy out of the Earth. Because Goku wouldn't be there. Everyone would be occupied on Namek. Everyone would be occupied on Namek. They wouldn't know. That's why the movies don't work. That's why the movies don't take place. That's why the movies don't make sense. Because there was a whole video I saw on YouTube where, like, a guy just flat out says why these movies don't work. There was like an entire movie, there was like an entire YouTube video documenting about how all of the movies don't make sense. But again, the only movies you could argue that could work would be the Coolest Revenge movie and BoJack Unbound. They would be the only two you could argue that could say that could still work. The only two you could probably argue that could still work. But other than that, I don't think all the other movies would really work. Like, if I did my... It's just like what I said before about the Pokemon movies. If I found out what time, where, when they got released, and when they got released, and where would Ash be in the events before those movies take place, it'd be easy for me to be like, yeah, okay, that would work, or that wouldn't work. But again, the Pokemon movies are completely different to Dragon Ball. But again, I still think the Pokemon movies and the Dragon Ball movies are similar. They're just different time periods. They're just different time periods. And it's just wouldn't make sense to the main timeline, if you get what I mean. I'm pretty sure Yu-Gi-Oh had a few movies. I wouldn't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure Yu-Gi-Oh would have had a couple of movies, and I would kind of doubt that some of the movies of Yu-Gi-Oh wouldn't line up to the main story. I'm pretty sure the movies of Yu-Gi-Oh might not line up with the main series, because that's why they're called movies. They're not meant to be a part of the actual thing. They're not supposed to be a part of the actual series. They're not supposed to be a part of the main canon. Sorry to mention it, but are you gonna do a video about giving your opinion on Indy Hartwell signing with TNA? I might. Armin already messaged me telling me about it, and I already know. That's 3 people now that have already told me about it. Michael told me first, then you, and now Armin. Who's next? Chris? See, I've already had 3 people tell me already, and I already knew. I didn't even know Shane Thorne turned up on TNA. I only knew. I only knew because I saw it on Wikipedia that Elijah faced him. There's one where Yugi teams with 2 other main characters from different Yu-Gi-Oh series as the protagonists to be the main villain. Not sure if the Yu-Gi-Oh movies are canon to the show. I just don't think they would. I just don't think they would. To beat the main villain, yeah. Yeah, the only other movie I knew about, was where... The only movie I knew about was where Kaiba was talking to Yugi about bringing back the Pharaoh. The king of the king of games. That's the only movie I knew about. And I'm just thinking to myself, if Kaiba knew the Pharaoh was the reason that Yugi kept beating him, why would he hate Yugi? He should really be hating the Pharaoh. Like, if he knows the Pharaoh and Yugi are 2 different people, then why be mad at the guy then why be mad at Yugi? Why be all like, I can't beat Yugi? It should be more like, I can't beat the Pharaoh. I hate the Pharaoh. He keeps beating me. The movie made it sound like that Kaiba wanted to fight the Pharaoh instead of Yugi. Because in Dark Side Dimensions, Kaiba knows about the Pharaoh, and yet in the show he has no clue about the Pharaoh, so it makes no sense. Well, again, that's why the movie wouldn't work. That's the only movie I knew about. And that's why it wouldn't work. If Kaiba had, because if in the movie that Kaiba knows about the Pharaoh, but in the show he doesn't, that's why I'm saying the movies don't make sense. So in the show, he thinks the Pharaoh is Yugi. Well, he thinks, oh, Yugi's a small kid, but then when he duels, he somehow grows bigger. Like he somehow grows a few inches. And that somehow means it's the same person. It kind of reminds me of that. It kind of reminds me of one episode in the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl series where they meet up with this girl. She's a princess, rules over a castle, and she looks like Dawn. she looks like Dawn, similar features, blue hair and everything, and she wants to do a contest. But then they ask Dawn to dress up as the princess. And their voices are so different. Dawn's just like, they got that high-pitched American kind of high-pitched girly voice. While the princess has a more elegant British voice. Because that's what princess royalties are. They're British. So she's got like a royal British accent, and of course Dawn's just got your regular normal voice. And you would think this would not work. You would think this would be something that would fail immediately, because if you know the person that runs your kingdom and you would immediately hear the voice, you would immediately be like, wait, that's not my princess. She's got a royal elegant voice. But somehow, throughout that whole episode, everyone got fooled. Everyone got fooled. It was a complete... everyone got fooled. It just didn't make any sense. So the royal princess dressed up as Dawn so that she could participate in a contest because she wasn't allowed to. She couldn't be allowed to participate in them because of her royal duties as a princess. So they had Dawn pretend to be the princess, and then so the princess pretended to be Dawn and all that shit. You would think that that wouldn't work. You would think a stunt like that would not work, considering how their voices are completely different. But somehow, the obliviousy of all the characters that act like they that they are not two different people. And I know it's a show, and you got to suspend your disbelief. I know it's a show. You got to suspend your disbelief. You got to dispense your belief. But come on, it just would not work if in real life. In real life, that would not work. You would have to put on a fake accent to make people. You would have to put on a fake ass accent to fool people. Yeah, and an ancient 5,000-year-old pharaoh always beat Kaiba. Not Yugi, but Kaiba still thought it was Yugi. The obliviousy. The obliviousy of characters, I swear. Even though Yugi's like a short little kid, even though he's like a short kid, and then he grows several inches to look more like an adult, and that somehow means they're the same person. Well, I think it's about time we wrap the stream. Wrap this stream up here, because I've just been yapping and not really been playing. So, hope you all enjoyed the stream. Hit that like button and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.